Ladies and gents, hello and welcome to a brand new edition of Roots Talk, Hello Meghalaya's flagship podcast series. I'm Aaron Lingdor. Now, on this edition of the podcast, I'm joined by somebody who is a familiar figure right here in town who is making waves for all the right reasons. Without further ado, please allow me to introduce to you my guest this episode, the exceptional Meba Ofilia.
Thank you so much for having
Meba,
me.
welcome to the podcast.
Thank
First
you.
of all, this is the first time that we're meeting, and I've done a little bit of research, whether it's online or otherwise. We've heard a lot about your music videos, etc. Tell us a little bit about your family background, if you will.
I was born and raised in Shillong. I have my mom and dad, 2 brothers, and I'm the only girl of the family. That's I come from a family of music, obviously. My granddad is a well-known singer-songwriter. My aunt, my dad's sister, is also a very well-known folk singer. So I think that's
So music runs in the family,
Yeah.
for sure.
For sure, yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about you growing up, as you said that you're the only daughter in the family. Is there that a little bit of favor? When I say favor, I mean in the best possible way. Is there the princess treatment?
No.
Not at all. So how did you grow up, growing up with all boys in the family? How does that feel?
I think being the only girl and being the middle child syndrome is so real. I feel it every day. So, of course, my elder brother gets that favoritism from my grandmom, my mom. But my grandmom's not there anymore, so my mom. And my younger brother gets his extra love from my dad.
Okay.
And
where does your love come from?
Just me. I'm just there.
Okay. So when we look at how you get into music, a little birdie told us that you were pursuing your law degree as well, and then you were doing music simultaneously. So what are you doing currently? Are you still pursuing your studies, or are you doing music full-time? What is Meba Ofilia doing as we speak? Of course, we're doing the podcast.
Yeah, of course. I'm doing music full-time.
Okay.
I don't usually like to talk about the fact that I dropped out of law school because I do not want to encourage anyone to drop out of...
But if you don't mind me asking, why did you have to drop out?
Because I knew I didn't want to do it. I actually wanted to do my further studies in sports and specialize maybe in a sport.
Okay.
Say basketball or anything like that. I was very much active in sports rather than academics. But my dad at that time didn't really want me to study sports. So I ended up in St. Anthony's doing English majors. And then after that, he told me to study law.
Was that the toughest decision that you had to take, probably?
It wasn't that deep, really. I was just... It was
You're like okay with it?
Okay, I'll just go with it.
No, I ask you
because
what I do right now is something that I've never dreamt of. You know, I wanted to do something else, but then that's the beauty of life. It takes different turns, and then you land up somewhere else. And when you look back at it, I'm happy to be where I am because your heart is invested there. Is your heart invested in music, which is the obvious question, but I want to hear it from you.
The difficult part was when I had to actually choose whether music or continue with the law degree. That was the only the difficult part, because when I first joined law school, I didn't really think that hard. I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it, whatever. If it works out, it works out, you know, at that time. But eventually, when I started really leaning into creating my own songs and writing my own music, that's when I actually felt that, okay, you know, maybe this is what I'm meant to do. Yeah.
So when you write songs, okay, I'll come to the writing bit later. So how would you define your sound, if you will, in 3 words?
I don't know.
Okay, I didn't get that. That was late reaction from my part. That was late reaction. So you don't know. So when it comes to when it comes to songwriting, then is there a process? Where do you start? Do you start from the lyrics, the rhythm, or where does the inspiration come from? How do you go ahead and do your writing?
It changes from time to time, actually. There's no hard and fast rule to it.
Okay.
There are some songs where I write, say, I just hum a melody first, and then the lyrics come after. And there are songs where there are just words written on my notes app, and then I create a melody to accompany the words. So yeah, it's actually no rule to it.
No rule.
It's just whatever inspires me.
So when we speak of music, the song which, even though it's not the first song that you did, won the MTV EMA, would you like to dive a little bit into the music and what went into making that music that it actually won the award?
When we first did that, I remember that wasn't my idea. So a Big Ree from the Khasi Bloods gave me a call and said, "Hey, we should do a song together." Since we had our debut song together called "Don't Stop" prior to Done Talking.
Right.
And he was like, "But now it's just going to be me and you." So I was like, "Okay, cool, fine. Let's meet up at the studio." Then we met the former member of Khasi Bloods, Lamonte. He produced the song for us and he said, "I have a beat. So let's go, let's all meet." And then we ended up writing the song. And then, okay, so the song was done. So we're like, okay, what do we do with it now? And then they said, "Let's shoot a music video." I said, "We don't have money." He's like, "Okay, then let's all pool in money together for a music video." And then we did. And we shot the music video with Elle. We were all noobs. I feel like that was my first time ever in a music video. I didn't even know what to do. I didn't know when to stop acting. I didn't know when to start acting. So it was a very, very wholesome experience for me.
Right. And what does the song talk about?
I think it could be about anything, but for me personally, it was about relationships. But it could be about friendship. It could be about anything that is really close to you, that you feel is drifting away from you.
So
anything and anyone.
So these are the themes that you would normally dive into when you write your songs, like themes of identity, like you mentioned. Are these the themes that you would normally get attracted to?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind writing about being in the club.
Right.
I mean, it's a nice vibe. But also, it really depends. I always tell my friends that my music is for you to listen at 3 a.m. all by yourself and just question your whole existence, maybe.
What's striking about, when I listen to your songs is that you can really balance this soft melody that we have while you sing, and then you jump into the rap quickly. How do you balance the two things?
I don't know. Honestly, I do not know. But I always consider myself a very sweet, soft rapper. I'm not as hard as many other rappers.
That is there.
Yeah.
So would you consider that your USP?
Huh?
Will you consider that your USP, your selling price? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Sweet, soft rapper.
Sweet,
Even
soft rapper.
Ree used to call me that.
So,
sweet rapper.
When we talk about rapping, all right, there's one thing that I don't understand is there are a lot of cuss words that are involved. And why do it in the first place when ultimately we have to just mute them? I mean, I'm not saying that you
cuss words.
curse. Yeah.
Cuss words are I feel, to me, I've never done it in a song, have I? I've never done it in a song.
Yeah.
But I do cuss in real life.
Okay.
But I think they're just a form of expression, I think, to maybe to make it sound more convincing.
Right.
Like, kind of thing. But I don't think it's necessary.
Not necessary at all. So that means you can get your message out and whatever you have to say through the lyrics without cursing. When we talk about your music, we come from a state where we love music, we love fashion, amongst a lot of other things. Growing up in that environment, how has that shaped you into doing what you do right now, which is R&B and hip hop?
I think because I come from that generation, 2000s, 90s baby generation, where I grew up with a lot of R&B songs. Yeah, like Neo, Usher, Destiny's Child, Britney Spears, pop music, diva. So that is, I feel like I'm still stuck in that generation, and I want to, take that and put it in my music and then mix it with, my style, my charisma. So, yeah. I mean, obviously, I would want to incorporate the traditional sound of the place that I come from, but I'm still trying to balance between abusing it and using it in the right way. I mean, just a little touch here and there.
See, where we come from, music is there, but then we cannot ignore the indigenous aspect of our rich cultural heritage. Have you ever tried probably dabbing into that bit and probably try and incorporate it in the way you do it in a very modern way? And I mean that in the best possible way.
The most I've done is sing in Khasi.
Okay.
I feel singing in Khasi is, is okay when you're doing it in your style, but singing it in the traditional way is a little difficult to do, especially because
True.
we have certain, I don't know what you call it. It's like a chant kind of,
Okay.
and those slurs and everything. It's kind of difficult to do. So I still haven't mastered that, so I'm not going to touch that
But
area.
there are these upcoming groups probably. Let's at the top of my head, Surna Nonkandong. They're actually doing it their way, which is very traditional, indigenous. And there's another one called these guys Naubnai. So, but they are a folk
The small
fusion.
little
Yeah.
girl.
So there, I believe that there is space for that kind of music in the market.
There is.
There is?
There is. I feel like one day maybe I will collaborate with them. One day. Because if I can't do it, why should I
Right.
why should I abuse it when I can just like join hands with the ones who are actually doing it really well? So maybe in time the rest of India will see what we have to. Just a few days ago, Khmer Creative Society did the rendition of
So
what is that song?
I don't know the song. So
Vande Mataram? Yeah.
Okay.
So they did the
But
rendition
that has
of...
been that
we're
has
gonna
been
edit
done,
that
that has
out.
been done a lot of times. That has been done a lot of times.
I
by a
mean,
lot
I
of
mean,
people
what
as
I
well.
meant was, it went like really viral on Instagram. So the Khmer creative girls, they sang that rendition of Vande Mataram, and it went really viral. So that's what I meant by maybe we will have a space one
Right.
day in the Indian music industry,
You've
without
been-
having to conform to singing in Hindi or English.
Or English.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
That's what I meant.
See, you've been doing this and you've been singing for quite some time now. Is there one thing about music that you wish you knew when you started out? Anything?
Do not rush,
Do not rush. Why do you say that?
because I've rushed many times before.
And what has happened?
Chaos.
Well, you can be vocal.
I mean, last year was weird. Last year was a very, very confused year for me. I don't know what I was rushing through all these different sounds, doing songs with live instruments, and then shifting to a beat, and then doing just acoustic. I was, all over the place, to a point that I had to take a step back.
Okay.
I had to sit and just do some self-reflection and, okay, what the am I doing?
True. Go on.
So I had to take a step back and, just do some self-reflection. And then I feel now, this year, I'm in the right track.
Okay.
I have figured out.
So no rush. And
No.
that is one conversation that I discussed with you before the interview, is that the consistency of producing music has to be there. And then we agreed on the fact that it's not that easy coming from a regional background, and how do you get your music out there to people? What are some of the difficulties, probably after you've come up with EPs and songs, what are some of the difficulties that you face as an artist from, let's say, a small state like the Northeast, like Meghalaya, I'm sorry?
I feel not being fluent in Hindi is my major, major drawback.
I think that's with, I wouldn't say all, but
Yeah.
it's with myself as well, because
Yeah.
if you want to...
I mean, if I want to make it in the Indian music industry, I would probably improve myself in Hindi. My singing maybe in Hindi, or my speaking in Hindi.
So you think a breakthrough in Bollywood would require artists from, let's say, Meghalaya
Yeah.
to know how to sing in Hindi?
I feel like that is the way that it is now. That's how it is. So,
But then, again, we agreed on one thing. See, we have the indigenous bit, and then we have English, which we can actually master. So we can bring in something fresh to the table, and probably that might just work. I'm just putting that in your head.
maybe that
Right.
could work. I feel like, yeah, that could work for sure. Because we have a very unique sound. I feel like if we can bring that to the larger audience, I feel like we would get a lot of vibes. Because I feel like what is different always stands out. So I think even when we won that award, I feel like we were different from the rest.
Correct.
We were different. That we stood out. And that's why we won. And we got the support of the Khasi community, Meghalaya as a whole. We got the support, and that's why we won. So till now, I stand by that. Maybe it'll take some time. If I were to do it, if I were to put the traditional sound with the music that I'm doing today,
it will take some time.
It will take some time.
But what I like about you is that you're very confident in your skin. You know what you're doing. When I look at your music videos, there's this authenticity that just reverberates throughout, because 21st century is one thing that I will not buy anything which is not relatable. And your music videos come across as very international. Is this, an intention which is deliberate, that you take, in the sense that I want my videos, my songs to look a certain way and maintain that throughout? Because I see that international vibe throughout your videos.
For sure, because I think for all of the songs that you've seen maybe on YouTube, that took a lot of time for us. First of all, because of locations are very limited. Second is budgets and everything, and stylists, and I think I could release a music video tomorrow, but because I value quality so much, I am not willing to just like put it out there for people to see. Just be a 5-minute hit and then it's done.
True.
So yeah, it's deliberate. Everything is deliberate.
So everything has to work together to make sure that that product comes out the way you wanted it.
Yeah, everything should come from the right place, because I've like I said, I've rushed many times before, and that didn't work out for me, for the people who work with me.
True.
So, and once there's one person falls from the team that I've chosen to work with,
the whole house will collapse, right?
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about fashion, because that is one space that, as an artist, I believe in that you should have, whether good or bad, because nothing in between that we'll talk about. It's only whether you're good or you're bad. Talk to us a little bit about your fashion sense and style.
Honestly, the generation that we're in now, you can't really call it good or bad. Because everybody, they express themselves in so many ways. But I feel like I don't know.
So do you look at fashion as that vehicle for you to express yourself?
Yes, I feel yes, it's a form of, it gives me some sense of liberation. So when I am being told not to wear this because it doesn't look good on you, or it's too short, or it's blah, 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 then I feel like I'm restricted. My freedom of expression is restricted. So yes, it does play a very important role. But also at the same time, I am happy with whatever makes me feel comfortable.
See, I ask that question because as an artist, we believe in something which is a complete package. And that is, I would define it as showmanship. How important is showmanship, especially to singers, songwriters like yourself, especially when you throw yourself on gigs and big festivals? How important is showmanship?
I've never thought about that.
So I ask you that question because, I believe that as an artist, showmanship is important, because at the end of the day, it's the full package that as the viewer, I would take forward from, right? So how important is showmanship to you as an artist?
Very important. You will never see me in shabby clothes, going to a festival, performing on stage, expecting people to just listen to me. Because I think what I present to the people, how I keep them,
entertained.
Entertained, how I captivate their attention. I think that is very important. My personality on stage, my attitude on stage, how I am with the band, with my bandmates on stage, or with the DJ on stage, that is all very important because it shows.
Right.
You don't realize it, but it shows. On camera, in real time, it shows. Your face, you cannot hide it. Sure.
When you throw yourself, that is on stage, but then there are a lot of things that goes beyond what you see in real life. It goes to something that we call social media. How do you view social media, especially as an artist, in terms of people talking about your work, people talking about your craft? How do you look at those comments? Do you think that we can encourage a lot of, because you told me before the interview that you would shy away from doing podcasts or interviews for the fact that
Yeah.
you want to avoid all of that, right?
Yeah.
So,
People attack you for giving people would attack me for giving my opinion, my own opinion. So that's why for a very, very long time I would kind of step back from having conversations in a public platform like this. But social media has been very good to me. On the other hand, I've got many, many opportunities through social media. I've created the small little family on social media, which I'm very, very grateful for. But I think it's just how, and talking about comments, I don't read them.
okay. Not even once.
I don't. I mean, when maybe 2 seconds into uploading a new post, I would read and reply to good comments. But after that, I don't dwell on it. So
Why don't you do that?
because I don't want to get trapped in that bubble where there's constant praise and then there's maybe hate, maybe I don't know. Negative comments.
Don't you think that also affects a person's, psyche and mental health to a certain extent?
Yeah, I don't want to be delusional in a way. Because I feel like if I just rely on people, seeking validation from comments that people when they say good stuff about me or people say bad stuff about me, I'm going to live my life on social media and I don't want to do that.
So there is a private life and there is the other Meba Ofilia that we see.
I'm very active on social media.
Music videos, etc.
Like, I'm very active on social media. I post whatever I want to post. I will have a huge smile when I post. But I don't really post about my whereabouts.
So you
I
kind of
don't
keep
post
all of
on
that
real time.
private.
Yeah. My whereabouts, my family, that I do not do.
And I feel it's not important.
Yeah.
Let's just talk
People
about
don't care.
Let's just talk about your work
People
and
don't
that's
care,
about
honestly.
it.
Yeah.
Right?
People just want to know when are you releasing a song or where did you get this top from?
True.
Send me the link. That's part. I would consider myself an influencer at the same time. So that's my job.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
This is one thing that I keep telling people. I don't consider myself an influencer because I am not. I do what I do. I'm a journalist, so I can't be dancing around like an influencer. When I say dancing around, I mean that again in a positive way, not in a negative way. That aside, because this is not my podcast, it's for you. Before we move further, there's this snippet that we all have witnessed on Instagram, and it's garnered a lot of attention. Is that a teaser to anything coming up in the pipeline?
Yes, we're shooting a music video for that, and then hopefully the song comes out this summer. I just because I realized that people actually want to hear what you're working on, and I realized that okay, it's actually a good idea for me to post maybe 20 seconds of the song for the audience to tell me whether or not this is gonna work. Of course, I don't seek validation for them. I'm gonna release it whether they like it or not. But it's just really nice to have people come and tell me, release it. We need the song. So, but I'm taking my time in figuring out what would be best for a music video.
Okay.
And we're working towards it slowly. No rush.
So
I've learned it.
while you're doing all of this, I want to know the creative process that is involved in you making a song. Like how much of your investment personally that is involved into making one song or one music video?
So I've worked with many producers in my career. They would send me a beat and I would do the rest. I would write the lyrics, I would do the vocal arrangement, and then I would work on the melody, the composition, everything. So I invest all of my time in it.
True.
And I've made this little home studio where I can truly be myself without, thinking about, oh shit, we're going to lose a lot of time, studio time and everything. So I've made this little home studio where I can just commit myself fully to the job and release the song until I'm happy.
So where do you go for ideas then to get inspiration? Do you need a quiet space? Do you need to travel elsewhere nice where you have like this quiet scenery where you can be by yourself, or you just need to listen to music? How does it work for you?
There's no hard and fast rule. So I've written many, many songs at the airport. I have always wanted to go to sleep, but I would wake up at 3 a.m. and write
And
a
get
song.
ideas at that time and start
Yeah.
jotting them down.
Yeah, like a zombie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's not healthy, actually. I've always wanted to quit that. But you can't really stop ideas from coming through. And yeah, there have been times where I've told myself, okay, today we will write a song.
Okay.
And that's never worked out.
Never worked out.
No.
I want to know, what are your thoughts on ChatGPT? Because I can go to ChatGPT right now, type something, and I'll have a full page from the verse to my lyrics, and I become a songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts?
At the end of the day, we can do whatever we want. We can cheat our way through, whatever, but true artistry will always stand out. It shows, authenticity shows. And if I'm going to write a song using AI or anything like that, I'm fooling myself.
Right.
Yeah. So true artistry will always stand out at the end of the day. If you want to do it, you can do it. If it works for you, do it. But there are some people who that it'll not work for, and that's fine. You can't really say that it's a wrong way to go about, because it does help in a way. So there's no really one answer to it.
So, Meba, you've collaborated with artists like Bigri. If there's one artist or one group that you would like to be associated with in the future, what would that person be, or what would that group be?
Oh wow, that's like I have so many.
Okay, throw us two, three names.
From India.
Uh, let's say India, chalo.
I would love to work with Divine.
And why is that?
He really, I don't know. He seems like a nice person.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like a nice person to work with.
What do you think you have in common with Divine?
I don't know him personally, so.
Okay. But musically you would know?
I mean, he's name dropped me many, many times. He's hyped me up. He supported me. You should check out Meba Ofilia. I saw in newspapers and stuff. He name dropped me once. So, yeah, I would love to work with him. Also because we're in the same space, hip hop, rap.
Right.
But I desperately want to form a girl group.
Okay.
From Shillong, like Spice Girls or.
And who would those
I don't
girls
know.
be?
I don't know. I need 5 of me.
Okay,
to be
5
with
of
the
you.
same level of commitment and energy and just vibes.
For now, Meba, there is one thing that I want to ask you. How important is representation of artists from the Northeast, let's say on a national level or even at a global level? Because I don't see there's any lack of talent from any of the artists that I've spoken to. What is required to get us on that platform?
What is required? I think because even the sound, if I were to talk about myself and how important it is for me to represent,
Right.
Because of the kind of sound that I do, it's not fully traditional or, I would say I borrow my sound from, the Western parts of the world. But I think carrying whatever I've been taught by my parents, my compassion, hospitality, and also in the way I present myself through costume, through my traditional attire. I've involved a lot of those actually. During the NH7, I wore this traditional. It's a pant and suit coat set kind of thing, and I got a lot of compliments for that because people were asking me, "What is this cloth?" And I had to tell them, and then I had these pila beads over here, and it was so beautiful. So I think that is important also, presenting yourself in your attire, and just carrying yourself in good grace. Yeah.
Interesting. Let's talk a little bit about your Vogue shoot, because a lot of people watching this right now would imagine to get into a Vogue feature, to be featured at Vogue magazine, is not even a joke at all. Tell us a little bit about your experience. How did it all happen, and any learning from that shoot in particular?
That was one of the best shoots I've ever been to. Everything went so well, so smooth.
Mhm.
We reached there the night before the shoot. Stylist came over to my room, did the measurements and everything. The next day went for the shoot. Shoot was an hour. We had the whole evening to ourselves. We went shopping in Kolkata, and then we came back to Shillong.
So the shoot happened at
In
Kolkata.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was in this Broadway hotel.
Mhm.
The aesthetics was so beautiful. And yeah, I think one thing I've learned from that shoot is to not panic. Everything went on time, everything went so smooth. From my end, I don't know, from Vogue's end. From our end, it was so smooth. We had fun.
So when you look back at all the interviews that you've done so far, whether it's print or otherwise, what is that one interview that will always stay in your mind? Would it be the Vogue again?
I've done very few
One-on-one
person to
interactions.
person, interviews, and a lot more digital interviews. So, I mean, I think maybe this could be
Interesting.
memorable.
I hope the producer is noting all of this down for us. All right. Let's talk one thing, and that is affecting all of us in terms of social issues: drugs, mental health. Would you consider writing something, or have you already, if I've not listened to, if I've not heard those songs, dabble into these very sensitive areas, probably to inspire, probably to get the message out there through your craft, through your music?
Every song in the album that I'd release in 2022, if you listen to these songs properly, they all dabble with mental health and having a sense of identity and trying to find yourself in this space that we're in, just very confused. So yes, I have, but they're not so direct. I tried to stay low key with that approach because I didn't want to come off too strong with it, because they were all talking about. All the songs are first-hand experiences, so
Would you like to share one of those experiences with us?
I mean, they're all. For a while, there was a point of time in my career where I didn't want to rap anymore because I thought it wasn't my thing to do. But then, like an identity crisis of some sort, midlife crisis. But I wrote them in such a way that they could give someone else some company. But I didn't want to be seen as an open book and just people analyzing me. So I was very low-key with the approach. But if you do listen to the album, I hope you do. I hope you do after this.
But you know, when you go through when you're going through something like that personally, and you put it down in what you do, what sense do you get? Do you feel relieved? Do you feel more rational about after doing it? What do you feel?
At that time, I felt I was going to be
sense
judged.
of relief?
No. At that
Judged.
time, yeah.
Okay.
So I was going to be judged. That's why I was very low key with the release, with promoting the songs. But then now, I think I would feel a sense of relief.
So the message I'm getting is that you should always speak out, speak your mind. Probably is that what
I've
you're
never
saying?
really spoken about drugs or I've spoken about addiction because I think any sort of addiction is a disease anyway. But I've never really spoken about drugs because I want to understand what from the point of view of an addict. I want to understand why he does what he does.
Exactly.
Instead of just being surface level and talking about the situation, the menace, whatever it is.
What do you think of, let's lighten up the mood a little bit. What do you think of the Gen Zs? What do you think
I
of
love them.
K-pop? Are you into Korean food? Do you love K-dramas?
Yes.
Tell us.
No. I don't watch K-dramas. I've tried. I have cousins who watch K-dramas. I've tried. They're just too long. I cannot. I love Korean skincare.
Okay.
I've tried. I'm trying them now. And then I've never really had the opportunity to try Korean food, but I would love to. I love ramen, the ramen
Okay.
that we have.
Mm.
I love that. Yeah, Korean fashion, Korean production, I think is top tier right now.
Okay.
When it comes to music videos and stuff.
So speaking of food, if Meba Ofilia has to step out with her friends here in Shillong, where will we normally spot you? Any cafe or restaurant
Naga
here in town?
food.
Yeah,
Naga food.
Naga food.
Yeah.
Which place?
Me and Imti would generally go to Kainum
Okay.
or Zumaira or the one in Don Bosco.
Okay. So Naga food is what you enjoy.
Yeah, I love. When I was in Nagaland, I was very happy about the food more than my own performance.
But do you cook though in your personal space?
No, I don't.
You don't?
No.
You come to my house, we'll do some cooking and do a lot of talking as well.
I don't
So-
think cooking is a good idea for me.
It's not?
No.
It's okay. It's okay. I'll teach you. One thing did you mention is that you have sung or probably enjoy a little bit of Khasi songs.
Don't ask me to sing. Ngapang rendang.
Okay, fine. So, coming back to music, we all get inspired by a lot of things, and music, like I said, can be a vehicle to the self-expression that we have. One singer, we've spoken about singers here in town, but is one singer, especially Drake, that you've mentioned in one of an Usher and people that you mentioned probably in your songs. Are they in particular artists that you look up to, or they're just people that you've heard probably one or two of their songs, or do you know what they actually go through and get inspired by them?
I think I wouldn't say I idolize them or try to mimic their sound or anything. And I try not to learn about an artist's real story. They say never meet your heroes or never, So I try to just stick to the music. But there are documentaries that I've watched about, say, Aretha Franklin or
Right.
Taylor Swift. I don't know, these artists nowadays. Ray Charles, played by Jamie Foxx. That was really good. So I've watched a lot of these. I've watched many documentaries about Amy Winehouse, and I feel like the way she was treated was very bad. But apart from that, you just listen to her music. She's one of the best songwriters we've ever had.
Again, what you do is not easy. You dabble into these different genres. What do you do? Is there a method? Is there a way out that you sit and practice to be where you are at the moment? Because in this line, the competition is not easy. What's in today is out tomorrow.
Yeah.
What do you do to make sure that does not happen?
To me,
Yeah. There's competition, like I said,
I mean,
right?
you have to understand that you'll not be. There has to be some acceptance from my end that I will not be relevant for the rest of my life.
That's very humble of you. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe I peaked in 2018 to 2019, but I had to accept that not all of the songs will be hits, and not everyone is gonna like all the music that I put out. So, but trying to be honest with the kind of music that you put out, I think that's that's the way to go about.
What are a few things that your music has taught you over the years and shaped you to become this person that you are today?
It's taught me a lot about teamwork. Even in this music space, I've had to work with producers and other singer-songwriters, especially the Jameson project that we had.
Right.
I had to collaborate with artists from Bangalore. And so we had to sit together and write songs. That was my first time ever with being in the room with another producer and a singer-songwriter, rapper. So, but then eventually we became really, really good friends. I stayed at their place in Bangalore. We hung out, we chilled, and it was, until now, we've carried that relationship on. So
teamwork is
teamwork.
one. Yeah.
Teamwork. This taught me a lot about teamwork. That, your opinions are never always right. You should always maybe learn to not micromanage too many.
I think that gets a little bit difficult and stressful.
Yeah, I've micromanaged all my life, and I realized that by doing that, I put myself into stress, and at the same time, I'm limiting someone else's potential. Like, I'm not allowing this person to execute their vision.
True.
Kind of like that. So I've learned not to micromanage anymore.
Fair enough.
And trust the people that you work with.
If there are some takeaways from your songs to your listeners, what is that one impact that you want on your listeners through your songs? Anything that would probably influence them?
I want to give my listeners a sense of company. Like, there is a sense of upliftment in just giving someone else company.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to say much.
Right.
Just have to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like my music is for the ones, for myself also. When I have nowhere to go, I would go back and listen to it and give myself a hug.
And how is 2025 looking for you this time?
I mean, I'm very hopeful, very positive with all the songs that I've written. But I don't want to talk too much about it because
Because
you just never know.
okay, so nobody would jinx.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. I just don't like talking about ideas and plans too much.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't have to go through with it.
Meba, you've done several gigs and performances, I would imagine. Any of the gigs and performances that are still fresh in your memory? And why do you think you will always remember those performances?
So my favorite festival till date is the Magnetic Fields that I performed in 2023. It's this festival that took place in a palace. One of the best experiences ever. We stayed in these cottages made out of clay for 2-3 nights, I think, and it was so good. There was the side of the palace, and then there's the side in just an open field with tents all around, and people are waking up to rave music, and it's just really one of the best experiences ever. But one that I hold very close to my heart is the CAD that I performed in 2018. It was the first time that I'd ever been to Mumbai, and I had say like 10 songs that I'd written at that time. And I told my bandmates, I was like, okay, I have 10 songs, let's try to. I have 10, they weren't even songs, they were just words.
Right.
I have these words, we can make songs out of it. And we made the songs, we went, performed, and it was one of my most memorable. And there were people responding, to the songs. So that is one of that is one I hold very close to my heart.
Mm-hmm. Before I ask you the follow-up question, I want to hear from you because we have spoken about your creative process, songwriting process. What are some of the technical difficulties, or maybe any difficulties that have come up as hurdles and obstacles for you to reach that creative level?
I think till date, when it comes to music videos, I think location-wise, that is one of the biggest limitations that I've faced. Because sometimes I want to do this, I want to do, different kinds of visuals, but we are limited because we don't have certain locations. We don't have studios and warehouses that we can make sets in. You know what I mean? Right. So I think that's one of the biggest hurdles that we are facing right now. I am facing right now.
In terms of budget, what are your thoughts?
Make do with what you have. So I feel like so far all the music videos have been either supported by my management, and then I also pool in a little bit of my money, and the crowdfunding campaign that we had in 2018 that sponsored my whole album. I'm very grateful for that. So yeah, it's been crowdfunded and supported by people that are very close to me.
So that has helped.
That has helped so much.
So what is needed then? For example, you had, I wouldn't even call it luxury because it wasn't even luxury. You had the help from all these sources. But for other artists who are still struggling right now, what are some of, what is that support that is needed, be it from the music industry, the music scene here in town, or be it from the government or elsewhere? What kind of support is required so that these artists also don't have to struggle so much?
I think with how social media works right now, being consistent is gonna, yeah, it's one way of achieving the goal. But also at the same time, I think it's more about spending your own money first and then getting the, the perks of it later. That is if it works out.
Okay.
It may fail, it may work, you never know. But I think nowadays it's a little easier with YouTube and Instagram, Spotify, Apple, all these digital platforms, paying for streams and views. So I think that is also a way. Just being consistent in those platforms can help.
For example, we come from a state where we love music, like we both agreed, and a lot of people watching this will also agree. Would help from the government be beneficial?
For sure, because I mean, we have the chief minister who loves music anyway.
Right.
So I think, yeah, it would be really helpful. We have the Meghalaya grassroots program, right?
Right.
I think that is a very, very great initiative to tap into an artist's or an emerging artist's potential. But I think it has the potential to become better. Maybe we could expand it in ways where, we could help these artists write their own music.
Right.
Instead of just, doing what they're doing right now, where the project is right now. I feel like we could help them in so many other ways, funding their recording sessions and helping them come up with an EP or holding songwriting workshops,
True.
stuff like that. But it's a great initiative.
Fair enough. When it comes to the Indian hip hop industry and the space for female artists is not all that vast and huge. From your personal experience, has that notion changed or it is still happening as we speak? Can or are female artists occupying a major chunk of that space
Yes,
in
it
the
is
industry?
changing.
Yeah?
It is changing.
It is changing.
It is.
Okay.
There are so many rappers in the Indian music scene that are doing so well, and they're so present with their audience. They have the support of many people, so it is changing,
So
and I'm happy to see that.
So if you look at it as compared to the attention and probably the amount of money that the boys and the men would get, would you agree, or we'd still have longer years to work to reach that level?
I mean, it's a very I think we don't have. I feel like we're closer, but there is some tension. There is some tension in the air when it comes to that. But I feel like we're closer. We're getting closer. I feel like we just gotta prove ourselves 10 times more than what men have to.
So that bit aside, as a female artist, do you feel welcome in that space? Do you feel that sense of belonging personally?
I don't have to be in a space that I'm not welcome. I can make my own space with my own, rappers that want to be around me. So I wouldn't consider myself trying to fit into a space that I'm not welcome. So it's fine.
So apart from music, Meba, what are other things that you dabble into, that you enjoy doing in your spare time? Anything in particular that does not involve music?
Music. I love playing sports. I love playing basketball. That's it. I love going to the gym. And then, yeah.
Do you read?
Yeah, I do. Sometimes. But I'm more of a very active, physical outdoor kind of person. So I would not do a hike.
Okay.
I don't know why people think that living a good life involves hiking. But I'm up for badminton. I'm up for any kind of sport. So that's cool. I like doing that. It's just you can just kind of rage in the court or whatever you're doing.
Correct.
Physically, and then that's it. And I go back home and get my good sleep, and then I work my brain writing songs. That's it.
And finally, what is that one good thing that you've been outside, you've mingled with other artists, and you meet people? What is that one thing, good thing, that you've heard people say and talk about the music scene here in the Northeast?
A lot of good things.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good things. Because of the church background that we have here. In church, I sang a lot in church. That is one good thing that I've heard. We have so much soul. It's this rawness of our talent that is very, very captivating to the rest of India. So, and I think a lot of people, I was told by a friend of mine, every Khasi household has a guitar.
Well, I do too, but I don't know how to play it.
And every random person, so in my family, we have this thing where we just take the guitar and we just jam and sing very old songs like the Beatles.
Correct.
Yeah. So he was very surprised by that. He was very like, you guys just take the guitar and just jam? I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's normal. There was this one time I was doing this Jameson project, and the artist from Bangalore and the whole team came to Shillong to stay. We had a writing camp, and we stayed in Umnyam. And so me and Dapist, the other artists from Shillong, so we were kind of hosting them. We were staying with them, and we got bored. So we took out the Bluetooth speaker, took out some karaoke, started singing. Yeah. And they're just standing looking at us in awe, like, this is what you do? I'm like, yeah, that's what we do.
It just comes naturally.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing that we have that. And I want people, I mean, to experience that as well.
Okay. Meba Ofilia, if there's a message that you'd like to put out there for the people watching this, especially for the younger generation, maybe amateur artists who want to get and be where you are right now, what would that message be?
I think, trusting your gut is one thing when it comes to your own creation, but also trusting the people that you've allowed into your life, trusting their opinion as well is one thing. Because sometimes it's never, it doesn't work out your way. So I think there's a thin line between trusting your own opinions and then trusting the ones that you've allowed into your life. You've given access. Like, you can stay here and tell me when I messed up. You are allowed to call on my bullshit. Yeah, so having those people around you is important. So have genuine friends.
Meba Ofilia, it's been an absolute joy to have you on the podcast. I wish you the best of luck. I wish you the best of luck with your upcoming song as well. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.